Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. Welcome back to Empowerment Our Show. And I am super excited to have you here. In fact, I'm excited about all the amazing and educative conversation that we are going to have tonight. And I'm super excited to have with me some panelists extraordinaire. I am your host, Joyce OHENEWAA KWAPONG, and thank you so much for joining me tonight on Empowerment Our Show. I hope you grab a pack of popcorn, some chilled drink, get a seat, and then join us in this great discussion. Before I proceed, I would want us to take a quick commercial break, and then I would introduce the show as well as my guest for tonight. You're welcome back to Empowerment Our Show, showing every Friday at 6 p.m. You can follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, and also on Twitch, as well as YouTube. You're welcome once again. Okay, so we'll set the ball rolling. But then before I introduce my guest, just take a few minutes and listen to this little synopsis that I have. Today's topic is parental modeling and child development. Anyone can be a mother or a father, but to embrace what it means to be called parenting is another story. You don't want to give birth to a child of your own. You don't have to give birth to a child of your own to act as a parent. There are many children out there who are looking for a mother and father on the streets, so you could parent such children. Parenting is a noble calling. So together, let us raise godly seeds. Let us raise children who wouldn't have to recover from their childhood experiences. Rather, children who can boldly profess that their parents are their role models. If you're a parent watching us tonight, ask yourself, do your kids have to look far in order to reach to a role model? Kids need good role models, and it has to start right from home. I would want to take the opportunity to say kudos to all mothers and to all fathers who are serving as positive role models worthy of emulation to their children. And also to those who are going contrary. Henceforth, we hope that after watching this show, you would turn a new leaf. I passionately hope that today's program will invoke a sense of responsibility in you and remind you that a child you keep, you have. So you need to act as a parent and also be a good role model for your children. So joining us tonight, we have an amazing and resourceful person who is in the person of Mrs. Ernestina Tikwe, and she likes to be referred to as Miss T, widely known as Tina. She's a mother to many, and she's a minister of God, as well as the founder of Race of Hope Ministries. She will join us in the course of the discussion. Ladies and gentlemen, we also have with us an awesome and ambitious young lady, my very own daughter, and she's in the person of Jessica Chumesi. Yes, you heard me right. Jessica, not Jessica. That's on the lighter note, though. So, Jessica is a young lady who is currently doing her national service. And yes, when you hear about the mantra, nothing about us without us, you could associate that directly to this young lady. All right. So she's the immediate past Women's Commissioner for University of Ghana, Accra City Campus. She studied business administration with a major in accounting, and she attended St. Louis Senior High School. She's a lover of sports, and she served as the captain in St. Louis SHS school team. At the University of Ghana, she was a member of the hockey team, and she won many laurels. In the area of feminism, Jessica is a feminist, but she holds leadership roles as executive director of Fem 360 Network and membership of Elevate Network and I1. Over the years, Jessica has volunteered with organizations such as the United Volunteers Network and Care for Humanity Initiative Foundation. She currently serves as a member of the Women's Commissioner of the National Union of Ghana Students. And in the year 2020, she was named and crowned Female Icon of the Year of the She Essence Awards and the Women's Commissioner of the Year of the National Student Awards. Currently, she is aspiring to serve in the capacity as Nook's Women's Commissioner in this year's pending elections. We wish you all the best, Jessica.
Thank you, Joy.
And you are welcome also to Empowerment Our Show.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you so much, Mommy.
So finally, too, we have the only gentleman in our midst, Elom Hubert Adehoke. Elom is a youth activist as well as an entrepreneur extraordinaire. So he would share with us so many issues regarding parenting from the aspect of the youth. Elon will join us in the course of the discussion. So we'll set the ball rolling by starting with Miss Jessica. Okay. So you're welcome once again, Miss Jessica, to Empowerment Our Show.
Thank you so much, Miss Joy Popcorn.
All right.
Thank you so much for the opportunity as well.
You are welcome. You are very, very much welcome. So we would want to find out from you, Jessica, as an activist or as a feminist for women and children, I'm sure there are so many things that you would have to share with your child or with your, with your son or with your daughter. But then, in relation to your daughter, what is that unique thing you would want to tell her about girl power and also about parenting?
Okay. Thank you so much, Miss Popcorn, for
Okay.
the question. Okay. It said that yesterday is history, tomorrow is misery, and today is a gift. And that is what we call the present. For
Mm-hmm.
this reason, I would say I'm happy to be on this platform, especially being the youngest amongst all the panelists. So,
Yeah.
trade series of ideas and thoughts with my bosses. To your question, Miss Joyce, that is
Okay.
it's regarding girl power. For me, I know girl power is encouraging and celebrating women empowerment, independence, and strength. So that one message, that genuine message that I'll always tell to my daughter is for her to be very ambitious. One, she should be confident, she should be independent, and then she should be able to stand for her rights at all times. Because I believe that if an individual is independent, he or she would be able to take up responsibilities for herself. If an individual is confident, he or she would be able to stand out and define all odds. If an individual stands for her rights, it means that person know what he or she is up to. So I will tell my young daughter that, hey girl, you are so unique, you are very influential, because I know females have influence and male have the power. I know most of them will not bear with me, but that is the genuine truth. We have the influence. So I'll let her know the unique qualities she has. I'll let her know the need for her to be ambitious and the need for her to be confident and independent. Thank you so much,
Great.
Miss Joyce. Papa,
Those are very great submissions, and I'm sure if your daughter is going to have access to such information, she's surely going to be a force to be reckoned with. Okay, I would also want to find out from you. Looking at today's topic, which is parental, all about parental guidance, parental role modeling, and all that. I would want to find out from you, how can one be a good parental model? I'm sure you have a lot of role models that you look up to. You have people that you have looked up to, and then you've been able to live a certain life to this standard and to this level that you have gotten to. So, what exactly would you say about someone becoming a parental role model? How can one become such a person?
Okay, thank you so much, Miss Joyce, for the question.
Okay,
I
you're
always
welcome.
say for an individual to preach change or to talk about change, you
Mm-hmm.
that individual should be the change you are talking of or you are seeking for. All right?
Precisely so, yeah.
Yes. And so one of the characteristics that will make an individual a role model or a good parental role model is if the individual is positive, has a positive mindset and thinks positive in all angles. Why am I saying this? I'm going to use my life experience as an example. Before I decided to enter into SRC, I can't remember, we were at the hall, we were having some discussion with our parents, that was my brother and myself. And I said, Daddy, I want to go into SRC. The first thing my dad said was, SRC for what? So for that alone, break me down in a way. Because
Mm-hmm.
he said, I have taken you to school to go and learn. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't take you to school to go and do politics. So you better concentrate on your
On
academics,
your books.
good,
Uh-huh.
and bring the grades home. Then
Yeah.
my mom came in and said, What are you talking about? Your daughter says she wants to go into leadership, and that is the only thing you can say. For me, I think it's a very good avenue for her, and I know she can make it, so she should enter into it. My daddy was not in line with that, but my brother also had to come in, and then finally we went to a conclusion that I can step in. So this is what positivity goes a long way to do. If you are a parent and you don't have positive mindset, it in a way retards your children's development. Because
Yeah.
whenever they try to venture into something, your comment alone can either sway
Motivate
them
them.
out, right,
Yes.
or bring them in.
Precisely.
Secondly, something I also look as a role model from parents is parents who involve their children in decision making, okay, in family issues. I think that is very, very key because there are some parents who don't involve their children. You are going to SS, you are going to do science, whether you like it or not, go and read science. From science, after you've read science, you are going to do medicine. It's like they are dictating everything for you. They don't
Yeah.
involve you in decision making. When that happens, it makes a child in a way timid or down because the child cannot come out of his or her shell. All right. So as a
Yeah.
parent, you should be someone who as a parent, you should be someone who has this positive mindset and then also drives the children to move on. Secondly, what I also look up to from a good parent is a parent who is responsible for his or her actions.
Mm-hmm.
Because most of the times we realize that parents keep on blaming children for doing ABC.
Yeah.
Hardly would you see a parent admitting his or her fault to say, My sweet girl, today I'm sorry. I am wrong. I am this. They are always issuing blames. And so if you're a parent and you can take responsibilities of your actions, I think you're a good parent and then it would be a role model for your wards. All right. And then lastly, I would say a parent who is very kind and respectful goes a long way to help the world. Because in as much as you are teaching your words to be very kind and respectful, your word should see that in you. You can't tell your word to be respectful and then you go about fighting and arguing with your neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
You can't teach your word to be kind and then someone comes to your house asks you for water or food and you shy the person away. All right. So in order to be a good role model for your ward, you should teach your children how to be kind, how to be generous, and then you yourself should be that, so that your child can see that in you and also emulate it. Yes. Thank you
Okay.
so much for the question.
You're
So these are
welcome.
some
So
of the
we
things
are
I
saying,
wanted.
yes, you've listed a lot of things, including values, including the fact that parents should set good examples for their words or for their kids. I remember whilst preparing for the show, I chanced upon, this saying, or should I say a quote or something of that sort. And then there is more like the scenario was like a father taking the lead and then the child following steadily. So the father cautioned the child that be careful as you are moving, be careful, take heed. And then the child told the dad that you should rather take heed, you should rather be careful because I'm following your footsteps.
Yeah,
So
that's
this goes on to say that the child is following the footsteps of the father. So if the father, if anything goes wrong with the child, it's because the father perhaps did something wrong,
yes,
which led the child to also follow in suit. So
following.
that's a great one that you made. Those are great points that you elaborated on. I would also want to find out from you. The Bible says, spare the rod and spoil the child.
For the
And it
child.
also says, foolishness abounds in the heart of the child, but the rod of correction will drive it away.
Mm.
So I want to find out from you. Looking at 21st century, a lot of people are against disciplining children. They are against using the rod. They are against shouting at the child. What is your view? Do you think it's in the right direction for a child to be disciplined when he or she is going wayward or doing the wrong thing?
Okay. Thank you so much for the question. With regards to disciplining a child,
Mm-hmm.
with the little knowledge I know that before you discipline a child, you should
Mm-hmm.
be able to tell the child's temperament group. Because I know that an individual, we all have temperament. And your temperament, that is the nature inbuilt, and the nurture, that is the child upbringing. Those are the things that forms your character or your trait. Yes.
Yeah.
So for a parent to be able to discipline the child, or you should know the kind of temperament group your child for. Taking a sanguine, for instance, we all know that sanguines are people who are very friendly, sociable,
Mm-hmm.
talkative. When you give them work to do, they perform very fast. But these things shouldn't have their weaknesses. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the
Yeah.
weaknesses of a sanguine is with sanguines, normally they act before they think. And
Mm-hmm.
it's not deliberate, that it's natural. So sometimes you see them throwing cheeks, not that they have intentionally decided to do that, but it's an inbuilt task. You give them tasks to do because they're in a hurry to finish. They omit the quality or the performance of that task you give them.
Yeah.
So for a parent to have a sanguine daughter, assuming your daughter is very sociable and friendly, the
Mm-hmm.
daughter comes home and, why are you making too much friends? I have told you not to do this. I have told you not to do that. You don't understand the girl. You don't understand the boy because you have not taken the cautious approach to realize the type of temperament group your daughter is. All right. So if
Yeah.
you know that
Mm-hmm.
this is how you are going to correct her, you come down to a level. I understand you are very friendly and social, and it's good. You commend the act. It's good. And with regards to this character, this is where you fit and this is what you do well. But also realize that as you are being sociable, make sure you don't step on people's toes, because
Toast.
realize
Yeah.
that people have emotions. So you should be very cautious of what you say and what you do. In that way, you have disciplined the child, but in a right manner. All right. If we should take, let's
Yes.
say, melancholic, for instance, these people are people who are very sharp-minded. They are very brilliant people. So, for instance, you can have a melancholic daughter who would be in the room studying, and then you'll be calling the person, Joyce, Joyce, Joyce. Joyce will respond, all right. Yes, mommy, mommy, I'm coming, mommy, I'm coming. Because the girl has has this melancholic trait, all her focus and her attention is on what she's reading. Even though she has heard you, she has not really gotten the attention for you. So as a mother, you come home or you come into the room, then all you do is wave up your hands at her and beat her. Weren't you the one I was calling? Didn't you hear me call? It's not a fault of the child, all right? As a parent, you should know the type of temperament group your daughter was.
Yeah.
Assuming you knew your daughter to be someone who is melancholic, you let her know that, hey, it's good. You are brilliant, yes, and I love that. I love the fact that you study hard and all that. But also don't forget that you are doing, there are some household and some work that you have to do at home. So you should set time and priorities on when to do what at what time. If you let your daughter understand it in this way, I don't think there will be a day that you would call her and she would deliberately decide not to.
All right. Yes.
So, in order for us to have a good disciplinary tool for our work, we should know the kind of temperament because
Each
what might take right might not
not to interject, not to cut you off. Could you draw closer to your device because it's giving us a bad feedback, and it looks like there are some echoes and so kindly draw closer to the device so that we could have.
Is it better?
It still seems bad, but okay, you can go ahead. Yeah.
Can you hear me now, please?
Yes, it's quite better. Yes. So you can proceed, please.
So that is something that as parents we should be cautious of. We should know the type of temperament groups our work are in order to direct them accordingly. Because these things are accordingly. And this nurturing is there to alter some of the natural capabilities or abilities of this work. So if you don't know the type of temperament group you want for, it will be very difficult for you to discipline her in the right way. All right.
Okay.
Or you know, I think your word is stubborn because whenever you come home, she's busy dismantling machines and all that. But maybe she's an incoming engineer. Who knows? But because you don't know that with her talent or that is her natural abilities, you force the response on it, that is the beating and the harsh words, forgetting that she has, this trait that can actually go along with her. So going forward, I think with discipline is good. It's very good to discipline your words. But in order to guide us in the discipline, we should know the type of temperament our work for, so that we'll be able to give.
Yes. All right. So those are great points as well. And then I also realized that in disciplining a child, we have to make sure that we are not only disciplining to inflict pain, but then we are disciplining a child for the child to be on the right path, for us to let the child know that it's because of A, B, C that you did wrong. That's the reason why I'm disciplining you. It's because you did the wrong thing. That's the reason why I'm using this rod or this cane on you. So we shouldn't just beat children or we shouldn't just hit children without letting them know the intent or the reason behind our action. It's very critical when it comes to parenting. And I also learned that when it comes to parenting, one thing that parents should know is that we should always project the positives when correcting our kids or our words. What happens is that you don't want the child to make noise. You just ask the child straightforward, keep quiet. But then don't say stop making noise because it becomes a battle in the mind of the child. She doesn't know or he doesn't know whether he should keep quiet. He's now beginning to process what exactly his parents or his mom or dad means. So instead of being negative, you rather have to project the positive thing. Go ahead and let the child know what you don't want he or she to do. But then don't say stop doing this, but let the child know, okay, keep quiet, talk slowly, walk this way, eat this way. Just be specific. Do not steal. Just be specific and let the child know so that the child will be able to, know what exactly he or she should do or what is required or expected of him or her. So I can see that Elom is in the show. Elom, you are welcome to Empowerment Our Show. Okay, Elon's network seems to have gone off. So Justice Kabo would continue with you. Can you share with us, the kind of home you were brought up from? As in, okay, for my home, for instance, it was a home full of discipline, but then you still have your way. It's not just so strict such that you wouldn't have your way, or so many, this person is saying, hey, do this person is saying something different. It's like you are torn between different moral behaviors that you are supposed to exhibit and all that. What kind of home were you brought up from, and how has that influenced who you are today? Because looking at you, you seem to have achieved a lot. You seem to have lived a particular life worthy of emulation. So what are some of the factors, what are the things that contributed to that?
Okay. Thank you so much for the question, Miss Joyce Coupon.
Okay.
With regards to the kind of home I was raised from, first I would say I'm from a very religious background. My
Okay.
parents are very particular about going to church, reading your Bible, fasting, and all that. So I'm from a very religious background. And with the discipline, when I was young, both parents were extremely disciplined. My
Okay.
dad, very disciplined and, sort of authoritarian. He almost imposes everything on you. Likewise, my mom. But when we were growing up, things changed. All right. After I entered into leadership, that my dad saw that I could actually take up responsibilities for myself. A lot of things changed. He got to understand me. He got to involve me in decisions he took. Likewise, my mom. All right. So sometimes an individual can be from a very disciplined home, but it depends on how the child will be able to come out of that home. Sometimes, if you are able to take up certain decisions, your parents realize the kind of daughter or what they have, and it changes the way they go about things with you. All right. So for me, I would say my upbringing from parent for the side of my parents has really had an impact on me. Experiences I've had right from my upbringing to now. And I'm proud to say my parents are my role models because they have a lot of qualities and values they have made me understand, and I move with them. Yes. So my parents were first very disciplined, but after I entered into politics, now they are not that strict. They are lenient with me. They come down to understand me, and they share in my dreams. And I'm happy for that too. So that is that with my parents. Please. Thank you so much.
Wow. I'm glad you came from, a religious home where, you had moral values and a lot of discipline from home. And I'm pretty sure that, as you mentioned, it has also, molded you into the kind of woman that you are now. So let me take a few questions from my audience, and then I'll follow up with the questions that I've got for you. She said, Amma Santua says, is she saying Muslim and traditional homes don't train and discipline their children rightly? And then she goes ahead to ask that which punishment should be well served to children? Which punishment should be well served to children?
All right. Thank you so much for the question, lovely audience. Okay, so with regards to which punishment should be served to the child, as I said earlier on, as a parent, you should know the temperament group of your ward. Because what might fit for Kwejo might not fit for a peer. So
Mm-hmm.
depending on the kind of temperament group your ward falls, you would know the kind of disciplinary tool to use. All right. Yes. And
Mm-hmm.
I made an example like assuming if we should take sanguine for instance, they are very friendly and all that. So your
Yeah.
daughter is someone who doesn't stay home. Right from there, you should know that she's a sanguine, and that trait that she's portraying is not cautious. It's not
Yeah.
deliberate because of the kind of temperament group she falls. So if you understand it in that level, you would you would appreciate that strength of her. That yes, it's good to be sociable, it's good to be friendly, but you need to limit it. All right, you need to
Mm-hmm.
limit the way you go about with people. And I also said that they have this trait, a weakness, that they act before they think. In
Mm-hmm.
that way, they'll mostly end up hurting your emotions because they
Yeah.
just say it and they don't attach any emotions to it. But if you understand your word that this is how she is, there are certain things when she say you would not be extremely harsh on her. You understand it from the background that because of her inbuilt character, that is why she is behaving in that manner. So as a word, this is how I'm going to handle it. All right. So I can't give a specific punishment to give to your ward, but the type of punishment that you would use to reprimand your ward will be dependent on the type of temperament group your ward for. Yes. And with the religious stuff, oh no, I'm not saying people who raise up their children from the Muslim. I believe every religion has its ethics and moral values. All
Mm-hmm.
right. I spoke in a capacity as a Christian because I am a
Yeah.
Christian. And I
And raised
have
from the
yes,
Christian
and I
family.
have fellow Muslim friends who have very good moral values.
Mm-hmm.
They give even their prayers alone, their timeliness shows
Very
discipline.
dedicated.
All
Yeah.
right, because
Mm-hmm.
most with Christians we don't pray like the way Muslims do pray all the time. So you
Yeah.
could sense some sort of discipline in the Muslim community, in the Muslim values. You get the point. I'm good. And so with regards to beliefs, I spoke as a Christian because I'm a Christian, but I know other religions also have good values that they teach their words. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you so much to Jessica. I would also want to further ask you that what are some of the, parenting mistakes that you think parents listening to us should learn and then try to avoid? What are
Okay.
some of those mistakes?
All right. Thank you so much for the question. For me, I would say parents should realize they have a big role in the lives of their children. They
Mm-hmm.
should realize how important their roles can go a long way to make and unmake their words. For that
Mm-hmm.
reason, they should be cautious of the kind of way they bring their their children up. All right. One mistake I think some parents do is imposing decisions on their words. Okay, there are various approaches of bringing up a word. You can
Yeah.
use the authoritarian approach or the permissive approach, but I think there
Okay.
should be a balance. You should know when you should step in with the permissive approach, that is being lenient, reducing limits, so your child can come out to actually free his or her mind. And there are
Mm-hmm.
instances that you should use the authoritarian approach. Because I
Yeah.
quite remember there are some instances that my mom used some authoritarian approach on me, and I think it has left a mark on my life till now. If
Yeah.
she shouldn't have done that time, probably I would have lost focus or
Yeah.
some goals that I'm aspiring for now.
Yeah.
So one mistake I think the parents should rectify or parents should rectify is know when to use the right approach for your words.
Yeah.
All right. And then secondly, parents should be very close with their words. You should make your word your friend, your sister, and everything. When that happens, it makes it easy for your word to voice out stuff. Because if your word is not close to you, that is when she ends up discussing issues with friends. And
Yes.
that is where peer pressure and influences sets in. But if you
Mm-hmm.
make your word your friend and your best friend, there is no need for her to go for a best friend. She
Mm-hmm.
can share everything with
Everything
you,
with
and
you.
then you
Yeah.
give her ideas. And so you'll be surprised that because of the way your word would be with you, she might even end up taking some of the traits of you,
The
the
parent.
mother or the father, the trait that you are trying to inculcate into her. She'll end up taking it because she's with you. You are with her. You give her ideas. She shares everything with you, so she feels you understand her better. So it
Mm-hmm.
helps her to take up from you. So one, our parents should get to understand their words. They should come close to their words, share ideas with their words. And I think when that is done, it would help, rectify some of the upbringing so far. Thank you so much.
Okay. So Amma Sankwa says Ghanaian parents don't know all these approaches.
Please, please come again. Come again.
Ghanaian, she says Ghanaian parents don't know all these approaches. So she's trying to ask for Ghanaian parents, buga buga, they don't care which approach to use, whether to use the authoritative approach or the permissive approach or the lenient approach. They just do anything as and when they feel like my child has gone wrong. She decides to relax
Then
it.
they give it to you.
Some even go to the extent of using their slippers, using the stick that they use for banku and all sorts of, sometimes it goes beyond discipline and
I
begins
know,
to
I know
enter into abuse.
I
Yes.
know instances where a mom used a knife on the daughter's hand
Yes.
simply
If
because
people use hot
she
iron,
saw her she saw her standing there chatting with a male, and she felt for the daughter to be chatting with a male at that time, it's wrong.
okay,
So the way to punish her is to leave a mark on her body so that
that
when
she
she's
will
going to look at
forget.
the other time, she looks at
Mhm.
the mark and then she realizes that it's wrong. And
So I think one thing that parents listening to us must take note of is that when it comes to correcting a child or disciplining a child, we should make sure that one, we are using the right approach. There are times when you have to use the rod, there are times when you have to spare the rod. So I saw a comment from one of our audience, and he was saying that it's not every time that you have to use the cane. Sometimes even talking to the child suffices. That alone is enough. Ama Santua also says it is this same parent that will shut their kids up and telling the child to mind their business and push their kids away. It is very, very sad. Money God says, good evening, Joyce. To me, sometimes talking to the child or children and making them feel guilty of their offenses is enough, not necessarily using the rod all the time. Precisely what I was saying. It's not every time that you would have to use the rod. Sometimes you have to just speak to the child. Sometimes you just have to sit the child down, have a one-on-one conversation with the child, let the child know what he or she is not doing right. And then sometimes just these little pieces of advice will keep the child going. Albert Adehoke says, should there be differences in how an African child is trained to a child from the West? Okay, so I'm sure my resource personnel would come in and then would answer that. Mr. Light Cranton also says, Jessica, you never said anything about the spiritual or moral advice you would give to your daughter. Okay, so he wants to find out which spiritual or moral advice you would give to your daughter based on the earlier question I asked.
okay, all right.
Okay.
Thank you so much for the question. The one of the moral advice I'll give to my daughter is she should be very prayerful, and she should take the word of God serious. All right. Everyone can disappoint her, even her mom. That is me. But the only person who would never disappoint, never forsake her, is her creator, is her maker. You should
Mhm.
make the creator her friend. If
Yeah.
if your creator is your friend, you can
Mhm.
ask anything from your creator, and then he
Mhm.
does it for you as a friend. All right. So she should know that the only person she can depend on is her creator, not even her mom, me. No, I'm human, I can falter. All right.
Yeah.
So she should pray and then depend solely on God. And when she does that, I know God is going to still her through in whatever that she does. She should
Yeah.
attach some fasting, and then she should be generous as well. So that is the moral advice I'll give to my daughter.
Okay. Jessica,
Transfer from dad to my daughter.
you've mentioned some key spiritual things that if every child listening or every parent listening would, advise his or her child in that direction, it would go a long way to help the child's development. Because even the Bible says that, you know, and there's this Methodist hymn that says, "Can a woman's tender love cease towards the child she bears?" And it goes ahead to say, "Yes, she may forget me, but I, the Lord, will always remember you. I, the Lord, will always be there for you." So this is trying to tell us that indeed our parents can fail us. And even the Bible says, "Do not depend on man, because man will fail you. But he is the only one that you can depend on, and he will never fail you." So it's very key that in everything, in all our upbringing concerning our children, we will make sure that the Christ factor
Yeah.
is also playing a very key role in it. And then also in your earlier submission, you made mention that some of the things that parents are not doing right, that they are trying to, impose things on their kids, sometimes out of the child's will. The parent imposes some things on the child. A typical example is with education. What are your views? Sometimes it's said that the child knows what is right for him or her, but then the parents might also think that this is the best way. So in terms of
Hello, Miss
education, the
Joyce.
child might also have
I'm
interest.
having some difficulties. I'm not getting you. The sound
You are getting
is
some
not that
feedback. I'm sure your network is very bad. Is it better now?
clear.
I'm still getting some feedback.
Let me log off and log in.
And come back again. Okay. So we'll go on a quick commercial break. And then I would also give you my take regarding parental modeling, after which we would hear the views of Jessica one more time. So let's go on a quick commercial break and we'll be right back.
When I am down and oh my soul so weary, when troubles come and my heart burden be, then I am still and wait here in the silence until you come and sit while with me. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. There is no life without its hunger. Each restless heart beats so imperfectly. But when you come and I am filled with wonder, sometimes I think I live eternity. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to
All right. So you are welcome back to Empowerment Art Show. And I would want to quickly acknowledge the support of my sponsors and my panelists, and then we would go back to Jessica. Okay, so this show is being sponsored by Authentic Sales, which is an online sales business that deals in original Apple products and anything fashion, ranging from ladies' heels, makeup products, sneakers, office shirts, belts, slides, etc. We also have Tailor the Cobbler. Tailor the Cobbler is also an online business that deals in shoes, boots, leather clutch, bags, etc. And we have Afranis Cuisine and Jody's Kitchen. They are both into the preparation of both local and continental dishes, as well as shito and all edible food. So you can contact them. You could check on their flyers, which would be advertised beneath the show, and then you could contact them if you need their services. So Jessica is on the show once again, and we would want to proceed with our discussion. Okay, Jessica, you're welcome once again.
Thank you so much, Miss Joyce.
Okay. So I was asking that earlier you mentioned about, parents imposing some decisions on their kids. And I want to find out from you that with regards to education, sometimes the kids feel that they have interest in a particular subject, but the parents also feel that this subject is not going to fetch you much in future. We are looking at the financial gains that you get out of the course that we expect you to pursue. So instead of following your passion or instead of following your interest, rather follow something that would bring you so much financial gain. And then they end up pushing kids into programs that they do not have interest in. Today, we are talking about parental modeling in all aspects. So it's going to be a holistic discussion. So, with regards to academics, how can parents be good role models without imposing some decisions, such as the courses that children want to offer on them?
All right. Thank you so much for the question.
Okay.
For the question, I would say whenever we end an academic year, we have our terminal report. All right.
Yes.
And with the terminal report, as a parent, you get to know the interest, the strength of your work.
Mm-hmm.
You sometimes you could see clearly that this child is good at science, is good at math, is good at English, is good at creative art, is good at that. So with
Yeah.
that alone can be sort of a guideline to you, the parent.
Mm-hmm.
So if you realize your ward is good at creative art, but is
Yes.
bad at math and is bad at science, you don't
Mm-hmm.
force your ward to enter into a science course to go and do medicine.
Mm-hmm.
You rather encourage your ward to go into a more creative field, that is probably visual art. That is where the creativity of your ward can actually manifest.
Mm-hmm.
Because let's not forget, your inbuilt talents are something that God gave to every individual to help you develop or to help you grow. And so if you do away with that, going forward, it becomes a problem. I had a
Yes.
friend who had that issue. Okay. He wanted to study business, but the parents imposed science on him. He went to school, he did science for the first year, that is Form 1. Going to
Mm-hmm.
Form 2, he realized that the grade he was getting and everything was so poor.
Yes.
The parents still forced him to do science. At the end of the day, what he brought home was nothing to write home about. And now this same parent was someone who was saying, when you went to school, you didn't learn.
Yes.
But the child clearly knew that science was not his field. And so
Mm-hmm.
pushing someone or a child to a place that is not his field, even the passion to learn alone is not there.
Okay. Yes.
Me, for instance, I'm someone who cannot see blood, cloth, and all those stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So my parents is to push me into a science course. They wouldn't be doing me good. All
Mm-hmm.
right. That is why I
Yeah.
said from the start that when you get your daughter or your son's seminar report, that alone can be a guideline. So as a parent, you don't impose certain courses on them. Because at the end
Mm-hmm.
of the day, if you invest in the child goes to school and is unable to make up the grades, the child cannot get the money you had in mind that you wanted he or she to get.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't go and pursue medicine, come
Mm-hmm.
out with all these, expect to be enrolled as a doctor, and come and get good salary. It's
Precisely.
better you pay for your words, passion, interest, and then get a better result out of it. All right. So going
That's
forward, these are some of the ways that our parents can use as a guide to actually check their strengths, the strengths and weaknesses of their wards, so they don't end up imposing certain courses on them. Because I get it most of the times for my friends. Some people even say, sorry to use a local dialect. Me papa na say me na accounting, me dem me accounting yeah. Me the set me command. I
and
mean, you
yes.
get a point. Meaning, she doesn't want to do accounting. The father wants her to do accounting, so the father can boast that, oh, my daughter did
Is
accounting,
an
and for that
accountant.
reason, she's brilliant. All right. So please, as parents, as we are nurturing our words, we should also think of the benefits of our words. Okay. So at the end of the day, it doesn't look like we are imposing certain things that would go a long way to hurt them in the future. Thank
Okay,
you.
you're welcome. So, as I mentioned earlier, today is going to be a holistic discussion, right from academics through to dressing, through to religion, through to the social aspect of children and all that. So, let me just zoom quickly into a question based on fashion, or should I say dressing. At what age do you think is appropriate to start focusing on what children should wear? Because lately you see a lot of young girls, and then you look at their appearance. You know, we are currently having this fashion trend in our society that is not so much focused about covering up. Anka tete na anka chief bɛka aketesia because wo kata wo ho esie.
Yeah.
But now we are not having these acritasias in society. We see a lot of nudity, a lot of, terrible dressing, totally exposed. Sometimes nipa no kora anka wanhyɛ hwee, anka it's better. Sorry for the local dialect, but then sometimes you have to chip it in so that our
Exactly.
audience will get some of the things you are saying so clearly. So I want to find out from you, when do you think that fashion kind of things should be invested into these children? You think at a very tender age, the parents should watch what they wear, what their kids wear, or you think when they get to the teenage stages, that's when they have to? Because now you see even 2 years, 3 years kids, and then they have makeup on and posing in pictures and all that. It's
Yes,
nice.
I get it. I get it.
Sometimes you begin to wonder, with this dress that was Shama 2-year-old girl, is it appropriate? If the
Mm-hmm.
child, that's at 6 years, the child is in skimpy clothes, 10 years, skimpy clothes. I mean, the child grows up and becomes, in quotes, slay queen and gets used to that kind of mode of
Yeah,
dressing.
trends.
What do you have to say to young girls listening to us concerning covering up?
Okay. With regards to the age at which a parent should take a critical look at what their words were, I think it should be from infancy. Okay? Because what you are trained with from the start goes a long way to help. After you've trained your child in that way to dress modestly and decent from infancy, how do you maintain it? Because your child day in and day out is exposed to the public, is exposed to
Yeah.
friends, it's exposed to social media. So from there, that is where you make your child understand his or her uniqueness. You
Mm-hmm.
should let your ward understand that she is unique in her
Yeah.
own way. So
Yeah.
if she should go out and she sees someone dressed with her breast, her thighs, everything showing, the only thing that should reflect in her mind is she should know she's unique and she's different and she has a goal and she has something to attain. So
Mm-hmm.
due to that, it wouldn't be easy for such a child who has that in mind to toe the lines of others. All right. So
Yeah.
after you've done the cautious effort to give the right protective clothes to your wards, as they are growing up, let them understand the need for them to dress in this way. So it wouldn't look like mom dresses me this way because she wants to see me in this way, but
Mm-hmm.
rather it would be mom dresses me in this way because I am to dress in this way. If you make the child understand the need to do something, the child will not know the essence of doing otherwise. All right.
Exactly.
So as
Yeah.
we are guiding our words, we should always give them reasons or the needs to do and not to do. With that,
Yeah.
it makes it easy for them to match up. Whatever they see, whatever they hear people talk about, they are free, and then that's it.
You're making really, really awesome inputs, and I would want to say you're doing very well. Keep it up, Jessica. I would
Thank
also want
you.
to find out from you. There are a lot of evidences of moral decadence going on in society now, and then most of these things is as a result of exposure to social media and this slay queens kind of lifestyle on social media, on television and all that. What advice do you have for the youth regarding social media? Because for some of us like you and me, we are utilizing social media in a positive way. We are trying to bring our voices out there. We are trying to contribute to meaningful discourse that would help society, that would help people who want to grow up to become, people of, legacy and all that. But then we have other people too that are not seeing the benefits or the advantages that they can derive from this same social media. And they go on social media, all that they learn is just this kind of terrible and negative impacts that people are having. So, what do you have to say to these youth who don't seem to see the power of social media in the positive light?
All right. Thank you so much for the question. So, as we are using social media now, clearly we could see we are using it in a positive way, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Everything that has an advantage has a disadvantage as well.
Yeah.
But it's up to the individual to know which side to go. All right.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
social media is a very good thing. People use it to make money. People use
Yes.
it for businesses. People use it
Mm-hmm.
to share ideas. People use to connect to people
Yeah.
far from them. All right. And
Yes.
so since social media has its positive, we can't do away with them. So it's up to us individuals to realize that the social media is there for a purpose. All right. You shouldn't make the social media use you. You
Mm-hmm.
should rather use the social
Yes.
media. When we
Yes.
were in school, our headmistress used to say something: don't just pass through Louis, let
Mm-hmm.
Louis pass through you. That is
Yes.
the scenario I'm trying to make here. You determine what you want social media to do for you. Don't let social media teach you what to do. And I know if you have this at the back of your mind, if you have this type of mindset, it will be very difficult for you to, move with the negativities surrounding social media. Thank you so much.
Okay. That's great. And then I would also want to find out from you, Jessica, what are some of the values that you would want to pass on to the younger generation? I know you have a lot of legacy and you have a lot of impact that you have made in society. And certainly you have some things that you would want to pass on to the younger generation, or some things that you would want posterity to one day remember you for as your legacy. What are some of these things? If you could highlight them for us, we would really appreciate.
Okay. Thank you so much for the question. The first thing or the first value I want an individual or every young one out there to have is to be God fearing. All right.
Okay.
I say this because I know what God has done for me. If I am to share testimonies on this platform, I don't think we are going to close any moment from now.
Yes.
All right. So they should trust in their maker.
Mm-hmm.
Could be Allah, God, they are all one God. Believe in God and then put all your trust in Him. If you are able to do that, it would help you to go a long way. After you've believed and trust in God, now you should have goals. All right?
Mm-hmm.
You should have goals, you should be ambitious, and you should be determined. Because the obstacles, there are a lot. The setbacks are a lot. But it's up to you, the individual, to define all odds. You should know where you are going, what you want, At any point in time when you are chasing your dreams and ambitions, it's normal for you to lose certain people around you. Don't say because the people around you do not side in your views or aspirations, by force you have to move along with them.
Mhm.
If you need to disassociate yourself with them, you should. So you move on with your life.
Okay, I'm sure Jessica's network has failed her once again, and I'm sure she would come back and then continue with the point she was trying to make. So, personally, I would also want to talk a bit about parenting and let parents know that they have a lot of responsibility when it comes to raising their children because their children learn from them. So they have to be positive influences when it comes to their children's development. There are a lot of things that parents would tell their children, but then it's not just about telling your child to do A, B, and C. Children emulate the lives that you, the parents, you live. So they'll do more of what you portray to them than what you tell them. So, to all my parents that are listening to us this evening, I would encourage that you live lives worthy of emulation. Don't just tell the child to live a worthy life, or don't just tell the child to live in a particular style or that in a particular way that conforms to society. But you yourself be a living example that the child could look up to and follow. So we have a very huge role to play as parents. I'd also want to say that parents are the ultimate role models for children. So every word that you say as a parent, every move that you make, and every action that you take as a parent is more like a force that your child would have to also reckon with. So if you are towing the positive line, you should also expect that certainly your child will pick some of these things and also follow suit. So you have a very great influence on your child as a parent. And one thing that would want to also take note of as parents is that we would want to raise children who wouldn't have to recover from their childhood experiences. We would want to raise children who would boldly come out to say that their parents are their role models. Sometimes when you even ask a child of who he or she's role model is, they cannot even come all out to mention even a single person. Even within their family, they can't pinpoint anyone that is setting a positive example for them. And if anything will go right or wrong, it starts from the family. It starts from within. It doesn't come from outside. So as parents, we should be particular about the lives that we live. We should make sure that we are raising godly seeds. We are raising godly seeds. So as a parent, your child is watching you from far and near. That's actually what they do as a living. So that is their job. They don't have anything else to do but to emulate you. So if you are doing anything as a parent, be very mindful of it that your children are watching. Also, I would also want to mention that the golden rule of parenting is to always show your children the kind of person you want them to be. So that's the golden rule of parenting. Show your children the kind of person that you want them to be. Jessica is on the show once again, and I would also want her to add her voice regarding our celebrities. You know, we have this recent issue regarding Ekiapim Polo, a picture she took with her son, and then bringing it all out to the public domain. She is not the only example we can cite because we have a lot of celebrities that portray very, very awful behavior in public. Um, I want to just let you give a few words of advice to youth who emulate such celebrities. What do you have for them? Because in as much as we have these bad role models as celebrities, I think there are some good ones in there too.
Yeah.
That if nothing at all, they could pick the positive traits from some of the good ones. So, what would you have for children who have celebrities as their role models?
Okay, thank you so much for the question, Miss Joyce.
You're
So,
welcome.
to have a role model is a good thing, all right? But as to the kind of person you choose as a role model, that is where the question is. You as an individual, where are you going? What
Mm-hmm.
do you want to achieve? What career do you want to pursue? All these things should be things that will guide you as to the kind of role model to choose. All
Yes.
right.
Mm-hmm.
And I know clearly that if you have positive goals, positive mindset, positive aspirations, there is no way you are going to go in for a role model who does not emulate those traits.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, in order to help young ones to choose good role models, you should have clear and good goals, good aspirations, and with that alone would help you know the kind of people you should choose as role models. With regard to Ekiapim Polo's issue, for
Mm-hmm.
me, I would say going a long way, taking a nude picture with your word, posting it on social media, it's not right. All right, it's wrong. Why am I saying this? I can boldly say that there are a lot of instances that we as children have seen our parents nakedness. That
Mm-hmm.
sometimes your mom will be bathing, she might forget her towel. Then she'll be like, Ekuya, bring me the towel. Or
Yeah.
Kwame, bring me the towel. All right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The point in me seeing mom's nakedness at that time is not an issue. Why? Because it wasn't a deliberate act. It
Mm-hmm.
hasn't been publicized. All right, you can let your daughter or your son know that I love you and today is your birthday. Mommy wishes you the best and all that. But to the extent of going that, I would say it's wrong. And it's a what? It's a no-no. For you wishing well for your son, it's a brilliant idea. I think every mom would do that. But for to the extent of showing our news and going a long
Mm-hmm.
way to publicize all those things, let's not forget you are doing it for your son. But always remember that the fact that it has gone on social media is not only for the consumption of your son, but
Mm-hmm.
it's for the consumption of public. So indirectly, you are showing it to us all, and not only your son. So going forward, we should all learn from this and then do the right thing, so we don't find ourselves wanting in any way. Thank you
Yes.
so much.
And to even add on, one thing that we should know is that social media never forgets.
Yeah,
Social media never forgets.
that's
So,
true.
one word of advice I would also want to give to the youth out there is that whatever you put on social media, be very circumspect about it, because social media will always remind you of that which you placed there. And I mean, by now we should have known this, because you check on Facebook and sometimes it gives you memories of 3 years, 4 years. I saw
That's
even some of
very
the things
true.
I posted on Facebook in the year 2016. And sometimes I'm even marveled. I'm like, so if I had posted negative things, it means now that I am where I am, all these things will be out. I mean, something I've done in 2016, 5 years ago. And funny enough, even when it comes to words, some of the things you say, just this week, Facebook gave me a memory of something I wrote in the year 2016, and it was about my calling. It was about the fact that I would want to be a light to many people. I would want people to be able to reach the top through me. I would want to influence lives and touch lives. It was basically about what I'm doing now. This is something I wrote 5 years ago, and today it has manifested. So
Exactly.
whatever you write or you put on social media, know that one day it will come back and hit you right in the face.
Yeah.
Will those be memories that you will look back and smile, or there'll be memories that you would look back and regret? Now we have a lot of people who have certain, certain things and certain content on social media. Even sometimes they are nude pictures and videos, and then after so many years, they resurface. Maybe at that point, you would have gotten to a certain level in life that it will be very embarrassing and shameful to see such a past. So we should make sure that as much as we are looking ahead and we are forging ahead, we shouldn't forget that social media always remembers. So whatever we put on social media, that ugly past that we created will always come back haunting us, and it would always come back hitting us right in the face. We should be very particular about that. Always remember that the memories that Facebook, Snapchat, and all these other social media apps give you are not just memories for memory's sake. They are memories that are trying to communicate something to you. That be very particular and take heed about the future and your present. Because
Mm.
whatever you post today, whatever you post in the future, it will come back hitting you as a memory. And will it be something you would smile at or something you would forever regret? So we should take very keen note of that. Jessica, I'd also want to find out from you. You know, there's a lot of controversies when it comes to sex education. In most homes, there's a lack of sex education, and even parents and children alike are shy to talk about such a topic. And sometimes it goes a very long way to affect us badly because a child grows up and does not know anything about sex education. So she's taken advantage of. So when it comes to sex education, at what age do you also think is appropriate that parents would, start teaching their kids about such things?
Okay, so as soon as a child gets into the adolescent stage, I think the child should be taught that. All right. The very first time you realize your daughter has entered into her menstrual cycle, you
Hmm.
should know that she's capable of getting pregnant. And
Yes.
for that reason, you should be putting cautious effort to protect her in that regard. As I said earlier on, if you make your word your friend and then your sister, your everything, it's very easy for you to discuss certain things like this with the child. And it's very easy for the child to also come out to voice out problems or challenges she's facing.
Yes.
Me, for instance, I know when I say this, a lot of people will like burst into laughter. When a guy meets me and tells me, "Hey, young lady, I love you. I want to be with you," I tell my mom about it. Sometimes we'll be in the room, we'll be going through pictures and be laughing. Sometimes I'll call the person loudspeaker. My mom listens. My mom gets to know the kind of person and all that.
Yeah.
And I think these are some of the things if you should teach your word at a very tender age, it becomes easy for her to open up things with you. And when
Yes.
your child is as open as possible with you, it's
Mhm.
very easy for you to guide and correct her or him.
Precisely.
Yes. So that is what I have to say with regards to that.
That's very important. I would also want to find out from you that I would want to find out from you, Priscilla, Jessica, sorry. What are some of the things that your parents, what kind of, I think Jessica is off the line. My producers, please, if you could project. Okay. Okay. Growing up, what are some of the things that your parents, did that you think it has brought you this far? What are some of the morals they instilled in you? What are some of the things they taught you that you think has led you to who you are?
All right. Thank you so much for the question. One thing my mom always reminds me of, she always tells me I might be the first person, but I should always make sure I'm not the last. And that alone gives me a lot of memories or keeps me on my toes to do a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
All she's trying to say is, in order for an individual to attain true success, it's not just about yourself. You should be able to impact the immediate environment around you and the society at large. So,
Yes.
fine, I might be the first president or I might be a women's commissioner will be setting a lot of histories, but I should make sure that I don't be the last. Meaning, before I exit, I should make sure I mentor someone, I groom someone, I guide someone, or even on that seat, I should make sure that my lives and some of the things I brought on board actually transform the lives of people. Because that is the essence of true success. True success is impacting and changing lives around you and society at large. So this is something that my mom kept and keeps on reminding me till now. She always tells me that, hey, you might be the first person, but always remember that you shouldn't be the last. That alone lets me know that I shouldn't be selfish. I should always be ready to raise other people to the top. All right. Yes.
Wow.
And then with the God fearing factor, my dad keeps on hammering on that. Yes. And that is something I've also learned from my dad. Thank you, Daddy, for inculcating such a habit in me. And I'm grateful. And I think if everyone should, you know, believe so much in his or her creator, it's going to go a long way to, help that individual. So,
I'm sure your parents should be proud of you and of the woman that you have grown to become. I think and it's also a very crucial, lesson that your mom has taught you, because it's very true. Anytime you enter into an open door, it's either the door was closed and then God gave you the strength to open and take the lead, or someone else had gone ahead of you, had opened the door and had left the door opened for you to also enter. So either ways, you have to also make sure that as you get into that opportunity, or as you get into that of leadership, or as you get into that stage or that space that someone might have created for you, or God might have made you lead the way to open, you would hold the doors for other people to enter. I think if a lot of people live by this kind of philosophy, or by this kind of thoughts, it would
ideology.
go a long way to, help each and everyone. And then prosperity, or the younger generation coming, would also have opportunities that they wouldn't have to now struggle to get or enjoy. So it's very crucial, and I'm very glad you shared that with us. I would also want to find out from you, Jessica, what you have to say with regards to gender roles. In our homes, we have parents who think that as for this particular job is for a lady, as for the cooking, as for the washing of the utensils, it's for the girl child. But when it comes to, the guys, I mean, you're going to get married one day, a woman will take care of you. You don't have to bother cooking, you don't have to bother knowing how to wash.
Yeah.
So it's like in the homes, the boys have been raised in such a way that there are lots of gender roles that have been, assigned to ladies.
Yeah.
And it's really affecting marriages, it's affecting a lot of people. What do you have to say regarding that?
Okay, thank you so much, Miss Joyce, for this question. With regards to gender roles, I'll say parenting plays a very key role in that. All right. And
Mm-hmm.
with what you said, I'll say it's true. That's how most parents raise their words up. Ladies are supposed to be doing the cooking, washing utensils. Guys are supposed to be pounding the fufu. As a guy, you are not supposed to cry. Masculinity. A
Yes.
lady, when you go out with a guy and the bill is out, the guy is supposed to pay all just to show masculinity. All right. So
Mm-hmm.
why in this instance I would say society and parents have a very keen role to play in this regard. This is
Mm-hmm.
how it should go. As a mother or as a father, this is how you should train your child. Everybody is capable of eating, true or false?
True.
Good. Everyone can get hungry, true or false?
True.
The same way you can eat, and you can get hungry, you should be able to cook.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And so if
It's
you
like,
make the child understand it in that sense, if the guy is the one hungry, the guy will not wait for Abna to come and cook before he gets something to eat. He knows right away that the fact that I can get hungry and the fact that I can eat, I should be able to cook. It's just a simple logic. You get the
mm-hmm.
point I'm trying to make. Yes, that is
Yes.
with regards to the house chores. And then
Mm-hmm.
with men showing their masculinity, where we say men don't cry, men are supposed to settle all the bills. With that, I also disagree in a way. Men don't cry, something like, why don't men cry? You get it. The fact that we all have emotions, the fact that we all can feel bad at something, everyone is capable of shedding tears.
Yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So we should raise up guys and ladies to understand that with emotions, everyone can get emotional.
Yeah.
And if you get emotional and you have to shed tears just to feel comfortable or to feel at peace with yourself, you
Mm-hmm.
should. All right. When you
Yeah.
make the child or the guy understands that, I think the norm of men do not cry just to show masculinity will change. If you
Yeah.
also let ladies understand that, hey, when you go out with a guy, when you go out with your husband, when you go out with your fiancé, whatever, after the bills are out, you don't just put your hands in your arms and wait for the guy to pay everything. All right.
Mm-hmm.
It's about who has more should pay. All right. So today I go out, I realize today I have enough on me. I can equally pay. If we go out and the guy has enough on him, he can equally pay. That alone brings some sort of respect on
Mm-hmm.
the side of we the women. All right. Because if we are saying we want to be on the decision tables, we want to shape conversations, then we should be able to be well represented in all spheres. All right. Yes. And so if we teach men to understand and ladies to understand some of these basic stuff, I think it's really going to go a long way to help. I can
Yes.
remember there was a day I was working with a friend and someone came around begging for money. When the person got there, my friend was looking at my face, I was also looking at his face, and I gave money out to the man.
Okay.
Can you imagine the man looked at the guy, my friend, and said, "Thank you, sir." I was like, really? I gave the money out to you. Instead
Yes.
of you to thank me, you are
Yeah.
rather looking at my friend and saying, "Thank you, sir." So what do you think went wrong? Perhaps he thinks the fact that I am working with a guy alone means it was a guy who gave the money to me. So for
Yeah.
that reason, the money is from the guy.
Yes.
You get the
Yeah.
way some people can think too. Yes. And I think society and parenting has a long way to go. If we are all saying we want to attain gender equality, gender equity, then I think it should be a party that everyone should come on board. It should be
Mm-hmm.
an all-inclusive party, all hands on deck. Parents
Yeah.
have a role to play, teachers have a role to play, pastors
Yeah.
have a role to play, society have a role to play. In that way, it's going to be easy for us to achieve it. But if we say it's going to be a one-man job, I'm sorry to say we would get to the timeline and then we will not see any improvement with regards to gender balancing. All right. So one thing I would love to say about this is gender feminism should be an all-inclusive party. Everybody should get on board so we can all, make the society a better and a healthy place for us all. Thank you so much.
Okay. You're welcome. Wow. You said a lot in simple terms, and I'm very glad that at least you are saying you are hitting on key things that happen in our homes and key things that everyone can relate to. Yes, so I'm very happy and glad of some of every submission that you have made tonight. I would also want to find out from you, when it comes to communication, okay, I think I've asked that question already. So let me move to the next question. Personally, as Jessica, what are some of the lessons that you recall learning from your parents?
Lessons I
Yes,
wish for learning from my parents.
yes. Are there any lessons or some traits that you have learned from your parents? Have
Yes.
they in any way been a role model to you? What are some of the things that you learned from them?
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay.
So, with me being determined, not giving up, stepping out of my comfort zones, and
Mm-hmm.
facing my fears is a
Mm-hmm.
trait I took from my mom. Okay. My mom is very positive, she's very optimist. She always
Okay.
sees opportunities in challenges and in problems. All right.
Yes.
So, and whenever I make up my mind to venture into something, she's the drive that pushes me because of her sense of positivity. It has had an impact on me, and no matter what comes my way, I'm willing to, you know, strive through. There are instances when I was going for SRC, there are some obstacles. I can't remember the first time I told someone I was going for SRC Women's Commissioner at the hostel. The
Yeah.
girl was like, "Hey, woman commissioner, course rep, you've not done some before." Like started mentioning you, what party you like, started mentioning a whole lot of things.
Yes.
And then that alone, if I didn't know what I want, I would have drawn back. Because after she said that, she gave that as a strength of my contenders, saying
Yes.
that this your contender has been course rep ever since. This
Mm-hmm.
person has been in Radio Universe ever since. He has the exposure. This has been this. So assuming you are not positive and you don't know what you are about, I
Mm-hmm.
might not even be here in the first place. I might
Yeah.
not have become the SRC Women's Commission. All right.
Yeah.
And this positivity is something that drives me. All right. That inspires me to do more, see possible or possibilities in anything that I try to set up my mind to. So currently, as I'm aspiring to be the NUC's Secretary for Women Development, that is hoping to be the mother of over 8 million Ghanaian students, I
Mm-hmm.
am positive about it. And I know that with the help and support of everyone, I can be the next NUC Secretary for Women Development. And
Yes.
that alone keeps me going. That alone doesn't set me back. And
Mm-hmm.
with one of the traits or values I learned from my parents is my dad is someone who really has faith in God. If you are talking of someone to call Papa Faith, it's my daddy. My daddy is this type he can believe that if you are hungry and you put just water on fire, you you can actually open it up sometime and it
And you
turns
find
into rice. He has this
faith
negative
personified, man.
faith. You get it, good. And
Yes.
so he that alone also keeps me going, because it makes me know that I have no one, and that is something that everybody should know. You have
Mm-hmm.
no one. It's only God you have. All right.
Mm-hmm.
There is a verse that says that "Jonim ne tokwa kono, nyame nyɛ den, ɛnko bi ma no. Wonim
Yeah.
w'asɛm ka, nyame nyɛ den,
One
ɛnka
can
bi
be.
ma no." So you
Yes.
have to let God realize that He is all you have. You have no one. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you give that, if you give God that task, if you go into this covenant with God, I know on any day there is no way your maker is going to leave you hanging. All right. So these are some of the two values that I've learned from my parents that keeps me going day in and day out. And I never regret learning this. And I think if every individual should take that from now, it's also going to have a positive impact on their lives. Thank you so much.
Okay. That was a great one as well. That was a very great one. I would want to also find out from you. We have some kids that are not coming from a home where there is this togetherness, a home where there is this bond, a home where they can actually look at someone and say that this person in my family is setting a good example that I can emulate, or they don't even have, their parents are not even together. They are coming from a family that is broken, a family that is falling apart. What words of encouragement would you give to such a person?
All right. Thank you so much for the question. If today you are watching me and you are from a family that's a broken home, you don't have anyone to look up to, you don't have anyone as a role model,
Yeah.
I would say the best person to look up to is look up to God.
Mm.
All right. He is the best example everyone can have. For me, I say association really matters. All right.
Mhm.
Because my association is what has made me what I am today, in a way. My association I had with certain people, it's it's even one of the reasons why I am here on this show today. All right. So we have to associate ourselves with good people. And I always say that whenever I'm asked to talk about leadership, my development, there is someone I can't leave out when I'm to talk about my leadership ambitions. And he's a very good person, a good friend of mine, Eric Nanajiman.
Yes.
He is
He's a
someone who has
positive role
played
model to
an
you too. Yes.
instrumental role in
Mhm.
who I am today. I
Mhm.
can boldly say that if not for Eric, probably I might not even be in leadership in the first place,
Yes.
because he was the one who made me realize some of the unique qualities I had, some of the
Mhm.
things I can bring on board. So this is how association can, go a long way to
Yes.
actually transform the lives of people. All right.
Mhm.
So after you've looked up to Jesus, our maker, make sure you associate yourself with the right people. You might not have them in your family, but
Mhm.
as you journey along, there are good people all around.
Yeah.
Find them, associate yourself with them. When they speak to you, listen, and then
Yeah.
from there you can make an impact in lives of people, in the lives of yourself as well. Don't
Okay. So we are very sorry, but then we have some network challenges here, and then we would want to once again apologize for that. We would work on that, and then hopefully subsequent programs, the network we hope wouldn't fail us. So we would later come back to Jessica and hear what she has for us. But then before then, let me acknowledge the unflinching support of my producers. So my producers for this show have been Mr. Seth Addy in Germany and our own Mommy Amma Rosie from London. I would want to extend our gratitude to you both for all the efforts you've been putting in place to make sure that our programs are a success. We appreciate, keep up the good work, and we know that in due time, God will reward your efforts. So I don't know if we have some more comments from our audience. If we do, my producers, I would kindly plead with you to project them as we wait for Jessica's network to come back, and then we would finally call it a day. So Joseph Elam Aka says the psychological punishment also hits. Yes, so he's reiterating the fact that when it comes to disciplining a child or when it comes to child development, we should know that it's not always about the physical punishment, but sometimes the psychological punishment alone can reform a child. Amma Asantua also says it is this same parent that will shut their kids up and tell the child to mind their business and push their kids away. It is very sad. So one thing we have to take note of is that as parents, we shouldn't shun our kids. We should always embrace them. Sometimes they have certain things they want to share with us, but then they are unable to approach us because Anytime they do so, we push them away. And when that happens, you find out that instead of your kids finding a role model in you, instead of them finding a good example in you and emulating it, they'll end up going to find a mother or a father amongst the gangs, amongst the slave queens, amongst people who are living immoral lifestyles because they are not finding that in you as a parent. So these are some of the things that we should take keen notice of as parents. My producers, I think I saw some few other comments. I don't know if Jessica is on the show again as well. If she is, I would want you to project her so that we'll take her final words before we call it a day. Okay. So Jessica, I would want to find out from you. You know, it's very obvious that when it comes to mothers, mothers have a particular instinct. Okay. So what, or should I say intuition, it's a God-given gift that God has given to mothers. You know, sometimes we have kids who don't listen to our parents. Sometimes you'll be going somewhere, your mother wouldn't feel right that you should go. People have lost their lives through that. You get a lot of kids don't listen to their parents, especially when they have that intuition. What do you have to say about that to any teenager or youth listening to us?
Okay. Thank you so much for the question. For an individual to be obedient, I think it's something that is very good. All right, because even in the Bible it says obedience is better than sacrifice. All right, and the same Bible also says that honor your mother and your father, so your days shall be long. And that is the only commandment that comes with a promise. So clearly it tells us that you are young and you want your days to be long, then there is something you need to do. You need to honor your mother and your what? And your father. So going forward, let's also not forget that our parents have experienced more than we do. All
Mm-hmm.
right. There are a lot of things they have passed through before us. There are a lot of
Yes.
things they have seen. All right.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't seen yet.
Mm-hmm.
And so if your mom or your parent asks you to do something, you should
Yes.
be able to listen to them. Probably
Yes.
there are some times that you feel what you are also doing is right. In that case, I think you should sit your parent down and make them understand why you think you should do ABC. And I think after you've explained better to them, if it's the right way to go, they would let you go and
Mm-hmm.
then support you in prayers and
Mm-hmm.
all that. So let's be obedient as possible. Let's honor our parents because that is the only commandment that comes with a promise. And let's also remember that they have the experience, they came there before us. And so, in order to get to where they've gotten and in order to do more than they have done, we should be obedient to whatever they teach us. So from there, we can also build and bring something meaningful out of our lives. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Okay. So that's also very great. And I would want to also find out from you your last but one question. What would you like your legacy to be? What would you want your legacy to be? What would you want to be known for in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years? When we are talking about Jessica, what is that peculiar thing you would want people to know you for,
Jessica
to
is
remember you for?
someone, Jessica is a leader who doesn't always think about herself, who is interested in touching lives, transforming the lives of people, who is interested in pulling people along, who is interested in seeing other people succeed. Jessica shouldn't be a type of leader that has done something that has never happened before. It should be like Jessica was the first person to do this, but afterwards she was able to make sure that other people did more than she did. For me, that
Mm-hmm.
is the bottom line of success. And I keep saying this. Those who listen to me most of the time would normally hear this phrase, that true success is not only about yourself. True success is impacting the society and the immediate environment around you. If you always sit on telly, you sit on shows, and then you talk of people should develop themselves, and it gets there and they come to you for help, and you turn your back at them, then what does that make you? All right. Let's also remember that there are certain things that the individual can do for him or herself, but there are certain things that you can also open up networks for the person. Don't let it be like because you strived and suffered to get it, someone else should also suffer. No, you should be able to extend a helping hand to people who need it. You should be able to impact the immediate environment around you and the society at large. So for me, if I'm able to do this, that is what true success is to me. And that is the kind of legacy I want to leave behind as an individual. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. That's very awesome. And okay, Jessica, we know we've really drained you tonight. We've had a very extensive discussion with you, just you on our panel. And you've done incredibly well, awesome. It beats our mind. And would want to say a very big thank you. But then would want you to just say this final thing to our audience, and then we could call it a day. So, Jessica, to end the show tonight, um, and as someone who aspires to be the Women's Commissioner for the biggest union amongst the student body or student fraternity, what advice would you give, or what words of hope will you give to mothers feel like who feel like their marriage is too hard to handle, especially when it comes to raising children single-handedly? You know, we have some mothers that are single-handedly raising up children and then trying to bring up a family that they can one day look back and be proud of, that I've been able to single-handedly raise this family. So, what word of encouragement would you give to such women? And what word of encouragement would you also give to some of these children who, like, they can see the situation in their family and so sad? They see other people having role models that they look up to, but then when they search even deep down to the deepest of, I mean, whichever area they have to search, they cannot even pinpoint a role model that they could look up to or call as a parent. What word of encouragement do you have for such mothers as well as such children?
Okay. So to the mothers, to our lovely mothers who are, how should I read it? To our lovely mothers who are raising wards all by themselves, I'll say
Mhm,
kudos to you all. Um, Most of us know it's not easy,
yes,
combining the roles of both the male and the woman's role as a parent. All right. What I can say is more grace to your L bones. May the good Lord continue to strengthen you. So whatever you have in place for your words would actually manifest. All right. And with children who have found themselves in this home, always remember you are unique. All right. I always say uniqueness because if you realize you are unique and you realize you have a place, or you are aspiring to get somewhere, there are certain things you do not do. All right. So always realize you are unique in your own way. Be bold, be confident, step out of your comfort zone, face your fears, and be always willing to stand up for your rights. All right. So these are some of the few words I have for mothers who are raising their wards all by themselves, and for children who have found themselves in such homes. Thank you.
okay. So thank you so much, Jessica. And as I mentioned earlier, my host, my audience, all of us, including me, I mean, my producers, all of us, we are very, very much appreciative of your time. And you've shared with us a wealth of knowledge. We really appreciate, and we hope that going forward, we will engage you more on subsequent discussion. Okay, so to my audience and to everyone, it's been me once again, your host, Joyce OHENEWAA KWAPONG. And until next week, this is Empowerment Our Show, showing every Friday at 6 to 8 p.m. on Today Ghana News. I would want to extend my gratitude to my producers and to all my audience message that I have from Madam Patience Darko in Hamburg, Germany. She wants to wish her daughter Helena Ahima Ahen in Accra a happy birthday. And I would also want to take the opportunity to let all students that are listening to us know that on your show tonight, we had Jessica Chumesi, who is aspiring for the North Women's Commissioner. She's doing incredibly well. She's done amazingly well in all aspects in leadership, right from school till now. And I have so much confidence that she's going to do exceedingly well when she's given the nod. So I would not to use this platform to, but to just let you know that I trust in her capabilities, her potentials, and you can see for yourself from today's program that she's done incredibly well. I would want to plead with you that you throw your support behind her in whichever way you can, and God will richly bless you. It's been awesome hosting you tonight, Jessica. We wish you all the best in your future endeavors, and we hope that you come out victorious in your elections.
Amen.
Have a great evening. And once again, I am Joyce OHENEWAA KWAPONG, your host. Catch you same time next week. We call it a day. Bye.
And my